Hey, Ed.
Hey, guys.
Hey, so I need some help making a decision of whether or not I should take a risk. Help me out.
Hey, do you know who also had a hard time whether or not they should take a risk? Esther.
Esther, like from the Bible?
Yeah, Esther.
Oh, you don't have to go into that.
Okay, so basically there's this king, right? And this king was like, yo, I need myself a new queen. I just got rid of my last one. You know what? I'm gonna make a beauty pageant, then choose. So after there was girls walking and everything, there's this one girl that walked. And he was like, yo, she's pretty cute. I like her. Man, forget the rest. So then Queen Esther and the king got married. Mwah, little kiss, right? So then there's this bad dude named Haman. Oh, and Haman was like, yo, like, I think we should kill all the Jews. And the king was like, yo, why? And then Haman was like, why not? And then the king, because he was drinking a little bit, was like, I guess. So then there's this guy named Mordecai, right? Mordecai's a good guy. He's actually the uncle of Esther, right? And Mordecai tells Esther, he's like, yo, Esther, you should like stop the king, you know, from killing all the Jews. That would be nice. And Esther's like, wait, but won't I die if I come to the king uninvited? Whatever. I guess I gotta risk it for the biscuit. So then Esther was like, I'm gonna throw a banquet and I'll make really good food. So then there's a banquet, right? And Esther was like, hey y'all, here's some food. And I want to talk to you guys tomorrow about something important. Not tonight for some reason. Who knows why? And the king was like, well, lol, why don't you just tell us right now? And Esther was like, nah, I'd rather take another night. The king was like, I guess, whatever. So then there's this interesting other part of the story where the king was sleeping and he couldn't sleep for some reason. And he was like, man, I'm scared. I need someone to read me a bedtime story. And he's like, hey, you. And the servant was like, sure. You want me to also give you a warm cup of milk? And the king was like, actually, that would be nice. And the servant was like, I was joking, but I guess I could. So then he proceeded to tell the king the stories, and by accident, he reminded him of the time Mordecai saved his life by warning about the guards. So the king woke up and was like, hey, I really like this Mordecai guy. Give him some high fives. So they all proceeded to give him a bunch of high fives. Anyways, the queen then made another banquet. Second banquet, check it out. And she was like, finally, I finished preparing the second banquet. This is my time to shine. Hey, babe! The king was like, what? I made you some more food. Invite your BFF Hangman. And he was like, he's not my BFF. We're just good friends. And she was like, whatever, just get in here. I need to reveal my secret identity. He's like, what? And then the queen was like, so, you don't like how you signed a decree to kill all the Jews? He's like, yeah, what's wrong? Well, surprise! I'm a Jew! And the king was like, no way. And I was like, wait. So, if you want to go through with this, you have to kill me and your favorite, Mordecai. And the king was like, man, because I've been drinking a lot, like so mad with Haman because he made me sign them, I'm gonna kill him. So, Haman is dead. The Jews are safe. And then Haman was like, oh no, I'm dead. And then like Esther was like, yeah, yes, we're not gonna die, woohoo. And then like Mordecai was like, yeah, I guess that's pretty nice. And the king was like, wow, that would have been bad. See, Esther did something risky. Did that help?
I mean, thanks for the recap of the story. I don't think I needed it though, because the risk that I was deciding with was whether or not I should eat Chinese again because of what happened last time. But thanks for the recap, I guess.
Why didn't you just tell me that to begin with? What is up? Best high five you've ever seen.
I don't think they see your high fives.
We're gonna make sure.
We're gonna have to add it so that you don't sound weird talking about random high fives.
We totally just high fived. You have to believe us.
Yeah, and it was so great.
So today's little different.
Little segment.
It's a shower thoughts, but it's a little different the way we did it. The shower thought isn't included in there. We're gonna be talking about risks.
It's more like a story. So if you want to hear a story time with a bunch of people.
Rewind it.
Yeah. Reverse. So we talked about Esther, and she took risks, and so that's the topic of today. We want to talk about risks.
So, what are risks?
What they do?
All right.
Risks.
Okay.
Take it
Normally, when you look at risks, you look at we've done a lot of research. Studies show that everybody thinks risks are danger, harm, bad, and all that stuff. Like even examples: expose someone or something valued to danger, harm, or loss. Right?
Not very positive words. Danger, harm, loss.
But what we're trying to do with this episode is talk more about how risks they're necessary almost. Certain kinds of risks are needed to be taken in order to grow as a person, as a Christian, as a I would say husband and wife, but I mean you guys know that eventually
There's a difference between like life risks and lifestyle risks. So, for example, jumping off a bridge. Not saying I've done that or haven't done that. I don't know where you got that idea from.
Cannot confirm or deny.
Or riding your bike with no helmet, no handlebars. Right? Don't take unnecessary risks that can result in permanent damage. So if it's best to ride a motorcycle with a helmet, why take the risk without it, right? But there are other risks. For example, social, physical, maybe emotional, comfort zone risks that you get out of. Physical risks, I guess you could be working out. It's a risk.
You risk going to the gym.
And being tired. Social awkwardness, making friends, emotional comforts where you don't want to share your emotions with people, right? Those are just some risks, right? Difference between lifestyle and lifestyle.
Yeah, but we also want to talk about why take risks. So we're going to talk about like good risk, bad risk all around. But why take risks? What's the importance behind taking risks? Well, because we can learn from them. We can learn life skills. So if you're risking, the gym. You risk going to the gym. Life skill. You learn how to work out, and eventually that might come in handy somewhere.
Eventually you'll become ripped.
And another thing that you can learn from them is accepting failure as a learning opportunity. So when you're taking risks, you're also risking at failing at something. So you're also just accepting like, hey, I can fail at this, but it's not a big deal because it's always a learning opportunity. And taking risks can further you in life. It can take you further in a job, friends, the skills that could apply later on in life. So they're just good all around.
If you don't learn how to accept risks or failures specifically of the result of a risk, because that's the definition of it, it's a risk. You're not certain the outcome.
Yeah, you're not guaranteed a positive outcome.
You're not, and so learning how to address the outcome, whether it's good or bad, at a younger age, it's much better to figure that out. Whereas if you're older and your entire life you're scared of taking risks and you're 30 years old now, and then you don't know how to make a simple decision on whether or not you should go eat here or eat here. Like something that you should... It's fine to take the risk, but it's just you've never. What's the word where you
push yourself?
It's where you grew. I can't think of the word right now, but it's like
What's
basically
the concept?
It's let's say if you another working out, right? You get used to something.
You just keep saying the word working out.
You get used to it, right?
Immune, basically.
Something like that. Man, I'm surprised I can't think of it. Anyways. That's kind of why we're going to talk about it. So we're going to talk about some examples right now.
So good risks. What are some good risks that you can take?
Going out of your comfort zone, talking to people, other human beings preferably. Talking to animals, they don't really respond back. That's going to be kind of hard. It's not even a risk. It's like, it's weird.
I wasn't going to say that on the camera.
Making friends, and this doesn't automatically have to be somebody that's same age as you. It could be somebody older, like it can be either somebody you see as a mentor, a role model. There's people that when I was in church, when I was in youth, for example, even Edward Kisianka, pastor right now of English Church, he was in the same position that Diane and I were, and as a student, I looked up to him and I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if I can create a relationship. I might as well step out, take a risk, kind of be open with him, and hope that he reciprocates and just is able to actually, have some kind of connection with them. So trying to make friends and talk to people, taking that risk of going out there, to older people especially. I think that's something that's so awkward. Like, they're so old.
Yeah, but
so old.
Anyways, so many benefits can come from talking to an older person because they're so full of wisdom and they can pour into you. Another example is applying for a job. I think a lot of you guys at 15 and a half, right? You can start applying for a job.
Yep.
And taking, a work permit from school, taking the risk of actually just applying to any form of job that you're scared of maybe not getting, you have nothing to lose if you just apply, because the worst that can happen is that you don't get it, but you gain experience of the application process, the interview process, the types of questions they ask in an interview. A few years back, I was offered a position as a legal assistant, which is basically working for a lawyer. And I had zero experience with law. Like, I didn't know anything to do with
every
legal
case
stuff.
she helped went to prison. That's how.
Don't do that. That was just a joke. But I took a risk, and when I was offered the position, I was like, I don't know if I can do that, But I was like, you know what? Why not? What's the worst that can happen? And I ended up going for it. I was a legal assistant for almost 3 years. And it was actually the most like coolest job I've ever had, and I learned a ton from it. I mean, it wasn't always easy, but so many takeaways from it.
Mm-hmm. And hobbies, for example. These aren't as serious, right? But at the same time, it can kind of propel you into kind of a, maybe even like a passion that you never knew you had. So we can talk about sports. We can talk about all that stuff. In high school, I played tennis, a little bit of it. I regret that I didn't play more sports. I wanted to play soccer, all that stuff, right? It's just, I guess I just didn't, either I think I was just too nervous or just too scared to go out and actually put myself out there, do a tryout.
Yeah.
And just fear of rejection in that case. Looking back, I wish I would have at least tried, you know?
Yeah. Who knows? You could have been in like the NBA now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Man, you're lucky that I'm... You can do knitting, honestly. Knitting, biking,
Yeah. Who knows? You might
hockey.
be so good at it. Hockey.
Man, imagine if you found out you're like
Insanely good.
really good at knitting, and then you become like
the best knitter in the world. I think there's
you
a
wouldn't
title
know
for
until
that.
you try it.
Yeah.
So basically, what we're trying to say is hobbies, they propel you into a passion
Yeah.
that you never knew you had.
Yeah,
That's
you
why
should take the
try it.
risk of trying it. So, okay, the other example is ministry. I think so often you guys, as a student, I remember being a student and I'm like, well, you don't technically get involved until, you graduate high school or something. But there are so many cool opportunities in the church that you guys can already be getting plugged into. There's Awana, there's children's ministry with Sunday school, side by side. There's a ton of different types of ministries, but you'll never know if, you're good at a certain ministry if you never try it or wait so many years to take the risk until, you're older, more mature or something,
Let me share an example of trying something and realizing you're not good at it. So Foundry, initially I started off when I was 17 years old, maybe 18. I was 17. And I was like, yo, I'm going to try piano out. Played it. I'm like, okay, piano's fun. What's the next step from piano? Singing. So
not everybody's meant to take the next step.
no, we're not. But I think God saw my heart. He was like, yeah, I could try it. That's something definitely that I was learning, and it was cool to be able to have the desire and the passion enough for ministry as a whole to be able to try the individual parts of a ministry. So I did that. I led a song and the microphone. Pretend this is the microphone, right? This is the microphone. I was too scared to go too close to it because I can hear myself from the speaker. So I would purposely go out here and I was playing, and then it was too quiet for everybody to sing along to. So then somebody went behind, blasted it up so they could hear, and then I went in. Basically, I didn't try it again. I mean, sure, I could have probably pushed towards it, at it, but then I tried other things like preaching and all that stuff. Right? So, same with choir. I did singing choir. I don't know what's up with me trying to sing stuff.
Yeah, maybe you should stop. I stopped at some point. I did it in high school, so all my friends, they were all joining the choir at Anna LaPie. Whoop, whoop. And they were all joining it. It's our freshman year, because you know how you have to pick like whatever, what's that called? Extracurricular or elective. Yeah. So we were picking an elective, and all the girls were like, let's pick choir. And I didn't know that you actually had to like sing up front with like another person so she can figure out like what vocal stuff is. Anyways, I took it for like a semester, and then by the end I was like, I'm just gonna do everybody a favor and not join choir, so I left.
So we both understand we're not singers.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this.
We have to sing.
Not singing.
So Noah, Esther, very good examples of risks. Noah, Noah, this guy, he built a boat when there was no such thing as rain and any sort of like understanding of what it meant to have a flood at the time. So everybody, not only did they think it was weird how much time he was putting into the ark, but they didn't understand the use of the ark because they didn't understand the concept of a flood. So he definitely took a risk, but the risk obviously paid off.
Yeah. Esther too. I mean, as you guys saw at the very beginning, if you didn't, go watch it.
Let's keep on talking.
As you guys saw with Esther, she took a big risk to save an entire nation of her people because she, heard her uncles tell her what to do, and then she was like, all right, I'm like risking my life. If I perish, I perish, And then
YOLO.
she risked it, and it turned out as a huge benefit.
So these were all risks that have somewhat good results, and the risk for reward and all of that kind of stuff, it's more beneficial to you, right? And obviously there are other risks that are life-changing, life-altering for the worse.
Yes, yeah. For example, drugs. there's going to be opportunities, maybe not for everybody, but when given the opportunity, don't consider it as a good risk to take. Don't say YOLO because
that's actually you're meaning it.
Yeah, literally.
There's been times where I don't know if you probably can relate. High school, middle school, a lot of kids would be like, "Yo, let's go smoke this," or like, "Let's go do this." Like you get a lot of those things offered, even if necessarily you're not in that crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they usually actually go after the quiet ones that aren't part of the crowd. They're like, let's see if we can get them to do it. They consider it as like
prime target,
like a dare. Yeah, like a dare you do. But drugs, it's a risk that's gonna alter the rest of your life. It's gonna change everything because your body becomes addicted to it. Even if you get clean after a short period of time, you're forever addicted to something. You're gonna be struggling with it for the rest of your life, and you have to actually look at it as a long-term decision. It's not a one-time type of decision that you're like, well, I'm just going to try it one time, or cigarettes or whatever other drugs, that you can possibly try. It's something that's going to alter the rest of your life. So when you're taking it, it's either going to change the rest of your life or it's going to just take your life, because you could just OD. I mean, so many things can happen. Your body can react in so many different ways. Wow.
There's somebody in my class that OD'd once. And I remember because it was like a Friday, and then we come back Monday, and there was the news, and he was dead, and it changed like the atmosphere of the class because everybody kind of understood. And to this day, I still think about him because I remember sitting next to him, and I remember like, man, imagine if I would have had the opportunity just to like literally spill the entire gospel out at once. God never put that in my heart to just automatically preach to him. But I did minister to him through actions, right? And so it's like to this day I still think about him. Mm-hmm. It's like it's been 4 years, I think, and it's like there's it's still in my mind. So yes, that's very realistic, and he was almost done. So, also other risks that aren't worth it is simply just doing stupid things, jumping off rocks, bridges, things like that. Sure, it could be fun, right? It could be fun. I admit I've done it before, but I wouldn't do it because, again, I know people that drowned and died. Yeah. It's a recurring theme. Yeah. It's these risks, they're really not worth it.
Yeah. Even risking being friends with the wrong crowd. Last episode, or 2 episodes ago, we're talking about friends and friendships and picking, the right friends to have, and risking being with the wrong crowd just so, you can minister to them. How do we call it? Missionary friendship. Yeah. Missionary friendships. It's a risk that's not worth taking to try to, minister to all your friends that are all partying.
Yes, that.
Partying. If I could speak English, that would be helpful.
I think so.
So that's a risk not really worth taking.
No, it's not. I mean, finish Eve.
Yeah.
Not a good risk. Taking the fruit.
Risk it. Kind of for everybody.
Kind of ruined it.
Yeah. Do you want to ruin it for everybody?
But yeah, I think once you look back, and I praise God that I didn't do any of these crazy things, and if I did do any of them, that He has protected me and He's kept me safe in it. Yeah. So to kind of finish it off with risks, so I know we shared a lot of personal examples, but risks are necessary for growth in life. Accepting them as a part of it is for you to decide. You need to discern between healthy and detrimental risks. Once you are able to apply them and learn from them in your life, you'll be able to grow in amazing ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we found a quote. We kind of tweaked it a little bit, but just a little bit. Sometimes people take risks, and sometimes risks make people. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the next risk that you're going to take, maybe it's a job opportunity, a hobby that you're going to pick up, a sport. It might, alter your future. You never know. It's going to make you into the person that you're going to be 10 years down the road. So
yeah, risks, learn to love them, learn to discern them, and learn to learn from them. Yeah. That's a lot of learning. But yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. So. All right. That's good. That's a wrap. We did it. Take a risk by watching this full video. We're going to put this in the front.
Yeah. That's a good risk to take. That could be your first one. But thanks, guys, for watching. Mm-hmm. Comment or DM us with your favorite shower thoughts. We're going to try
to... Please do it. Let's do it once. Maybe one person do that.
Biscuit. For the biscuit. Because why not?
We should have named that the title is Biscuit for the Biscuit. Yeah. Biscuit for the Biscuit. All right. All right. Have a blessed day. Thank you guys so much.
We'll see ya.
Bye.
I'm very enthusiastic.